I would like to welcome you all to our presentation of the map, Modullar Aid Box. My name is Sergio. I'm going to present my colleagues. This is Feike. And then we have Sander, Bart, and last but not least, David. Modullar Aid Box. We want to get something more out of the box. First of all, I'm going to sketch a situation. Then we're going to tell something about the box, and of course what we want from Idea Labs. As you all recently know, on television, radio or internet, we have seen some terrible disasters like in India and in Pakistan. 3.3 million people are homeless in Pakistan. It is very, very terrible. And also difficult for aid organizations to provide for help due to the circumstances, difficult to get there, etc. On average, each year you will get like 707 disasters a year. That's also a large amount of disasters what we encounter in the world. And war also devastates the living conditions of people and really destroys their life a little bit. What does it mean? It does mean that we will get a lot of death and injuries, houses will be devastated totally. And that means that we have to give aid, we have to give some help to these countries. Most of the time organizations will send help, etc. So in one day, as we can see in Pakistan, they sent 420 metric tons that is dropped. Tsunami, they dropped a lot of tons, and 10,000 metric tons with 2,000 metric tons dropped. So that's all large amounts of help and aid that is sent to those countries. But most of the times the aid that is sent is like boxes with food only, and not really added value, that the person have some more needs, some more things that they can use for their living. Only food and that's it. So we were thinking about ourselves and try to say to ourselves, well, what can we do to give an added value? What can we do to help these people more? Because we give so much money for aid, etc. But most of the times the money is not really well spent. Most times it will only stay on the bank, and they still have to think about what to do about the money. Because it's difficult to reach those places most of the times, and most of the times they will only give some food. So we thought, well, let's revolutionize that idea. Let's think about the Modullar Aid Box. What is the Modullar Aid Box? These days, food are dropped in boxes. They end up on the ground. The people get the food, take the food out, but the box remains. That's not efficient enough. We thought by ourselves, why not also use that box? That's also environmentally friendly, and the people can use the box as a building material so that they can build small houses for small families, or they can build a large community center so that they can all come together and group. So that was our new revolutionary idea of getting more out of the box. Modullar Aid Box. So it's like you can see, it's not disposable like the convenient boxes. It's environmental friendly. So it has two functions. You can use it as a transport means, and you can also transport food, medicine, and all those kind of things. And you can also use it as a building material. So what's important about the Modullar Aid Box is that it has to be solid and durable. It can be made bigger, so multiple options. It has to endure wind, rain, and all those kind of factors. Those things are important. Also, what is important is the insulation, because if you are in a cold area and you'll get a box and it's still cold, then it won't be useful. So those things are very important aspects of our box. If you take a couple of boxes, then you can make like a large community center, as you can see there. 4 boxes may be enough for a family, and 8 boxes may be enough for a community center. So it gives you a regular shelter and an insulated shelter, and that's good because you will give aid, you give immediate shelter for the people, not only food. What's important is, of course, that the panels has to be of solid structure, and it has to be easy click-on system. Think about the IKEA idea for the people. Most of the people in those countries are very inventive. So the box has to be easy to be retracted and easy to collect, so that you can build different modules in different styles. We thought about an average size, so I think 1 by 1 meter. 1 by 1 meter will be appropriate size, and the thickness will be approximately 7 centimeters. Also to build in the isolation system to keep the heat or to keep the cold out or something like that. And the material that we thought of is polycarbonate panel for the hardness and durability. And polyurethane foam is like the foam that you spray inside of the panel for heat, to contain the heat or to reach out the cold. Parachute, you will also need a parachute to drop the boxes, although maybe when you collaborate with some certain organizations, the parachute will be granted for free. And of course, the telescope pole for the community area that we just demonstrated a couple of slides ago. Who are our potential customers? Well, the market is big. You could say worldwide, actually. Disasters occur every year, each time. So most of the times, governments will be interested. Non-governmental organizations like the UN, UNICEF, Humanities, War Child, all those kind of things. Even military, you can eat, and military is also useful. What do we ask of you? Yeah, actually, what's important for us is to develop a good box, a solid box. So we need some money for research and development. What types of material is the best to use in certain conditions? So in a heat environment condition or in a cold environmental conditions, and some marketing money. Why? We want to present this message to those organizations. Hey, we have the solution. We have the solution. Don't throw away the box, but use the box. And we want to let it be known by this organization that there is a solution. You can provide those people with immediate shelter help. And marketing is also an important aspect, because if you have the customers and people are interested, then people want to buy it. They want our stuff. So imagine the large amounts of money people donate. So hundreds of millions of dollars each country, and we can provide 10,000 people for $225,000 US dollars only, just to live and to have food and the basic needs. So what else can you ask of us? It's just some money. Thank you. Other questions?
You're very enthusiastic, so
yeah.
that's nice to see. But the thing I'm wondering, how do people know that they can use it to build something for the families? Because it is dropping and they are getting the food. And
nowadays, when help is provided for those people, they will send like a group of Red Cross or something to help those people. So, of course, you can send a smaller group than you're sending now to let those people know, hey, you can build like this, you can do this for this, and don't forget, those people are inventive. They create things from things that we wouldn't even think about it. So I wouldn't even be worried about the fact that they're not able to build things.
Yeah, you can put some basic instructions on the panels if necessary, just with some basic clear symbols so people see, well, hey, I can do with this, just to make sure they're used in the proper manner.
Any more questions? Please feel free to ask. Don't be shy.
Can you show us what the $225,000?
Yes, there is a hidden slide. I think Sandra, can you help me out? For example, 10,000 people. The boxes we calculate approximately 10,000 people is like 3,000 boxes, and we want to sell it at a price of $75. But that's estimated because we still have to do research. It depends on what kind of material is used. It can also vary from $75 to $200 or $300. I think the better the quality is, the more expensive the box will be. But don't forget, you will get long-lasting boxes, environmental friendly, and it has a use, purpose. So you will come on this amount of money, as you have asked. More questions?
Are you proposing this as being a for-profit venture, or are you proposing that we fund a not-for-profit venture, and the benefit, I guess, here would be to humanity? I mean,
it is, of course, a humanitarian issue, but I think you can look at it both ways. If you want to do it for humanitarian issues, it will have a good purpose for the world. But if we want to explore other markets, like the army or customers itself, because this box you can also use for a convenient hardware store. Like you want to sell the box for customers who want to use it for camping activities or something like that, you know. So I think it depends how the market is, or what kind of market you want to approach. And even though if you approach the humanitarian market, you will still make some money out of it, because those organizations who want to buy our boxes still need the boxes to provide for those people, and they want to give good aid. I mean, we don't donate money for nothing. We want to see that something right is happening with our money for those people in need, who really needs it. So why not use that money wise and spend it wise? Why not use it on something that makes effort, that has a purpose for people in need?
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that as Idea Lab looks at this as a business, sort of morally and ethically, I have a bit of a problem trying to get the maximum margin out of something like this.
Well,
for disaster relief. Now, as you mentioned, for military purposes or other purposes, that may be a different story. But for disaster relief, I would probably want to make this as widely available as possible, which would mean keep the price down.
I think we will use different price setting in cases like this. So I think the humanitarian aid will be the biggest market. But we will keep the margin not that big.
Had you thought perhaps of? I know this sounds a little crass, but if it helps, use it as a marketing device.
For the other
products. A company could perhaps put their name or logo on the boxes, so then when the helicopters fly over, there'll be Sojeti.
You can use a Sojeti logo. You can use a logo, blue color for the UN, or give a green color for Humanities, or white color for Red Cross, or red color.
But you should be careful, very careful with these kinds of things. I mean, if you are in Africa and you get this box, this red box with this yellow McDonald's sign on it,
that's something different.
By McDonald's, I don't think
it really has to.
That's a very good idea. But you can of course make it blue with the UN logo.
Okay.
As long as it has a good purpose.
So what I hear you saying is that this is not a purely profit-making venture for Idea Labs. This is something that maybe even Idea Labs.
But it's also good
public relations.
You will get
it's good for your name.
Okay.
So maybe we can work something out.
Okay.
And you do something better for the world. So it's a good contribution.
If you have to live in such a box, how do you get fresh air? Do you have to leave the door open?
You can leave the door open.
But if it's very cold and freezing outside?
You can leave the door closed, but don't forget. I think this is just as easy as in a normal, regular home. You open the door if you want something, you close it if it's cold. I hope that does answer your question. So.
Do you have an idea already what material you will make this box out of?
That's what we just told in the explanation. So if we want to...
You told us some specifications, but you didn't tell us anything about the material.
Yeah, I was talking about polycarbonate.
Polycarbonate. You talked about 7 centimeters thick.
Yeah, I have to go to another slide to show you. Yeah. This is why we want to make it 7 centimeters, so that we can spray the foam inside of it for the isolation, and that is light and hard. So it really gives an extra strong feature size to the panel. Yeah.
In that case, how do you make sure people don't get killed just by receiving that?
Well, let me make it easy. If you fly a plane, I think a pilot wouldn't really drop some boxes when he sees some people down there. So he will a pilot always will look for an area that's a very good area to drop. Most of the times it will be a flat area when it's possible. He wouldn't drop boxes on these kind of areas with difficult accessibility for the people. Yeah.
Mr. DeBona, Dr. DeBona would appreciate your drawing.
More questions?
Well, I just
tell you that.
After that, I think that's not really relevant because current boxes also
That's right.
Yes, sir.
In case of flooding, can you do something more with it?
I'm sorry?
In case of a flooding, can you do something more with it?
We can do research like do we want to make the boxes float, but I think we come again to the previous question, why would you drop a box in water if you can drop on land? So it's easy accessible for the people. Otherwise you have to swim and carry the box. It's difficult for them.
Because they cannot build on water either. So.
Yeah.
But you can bring those boxes to the area near the disaster area.
Please feel free.
People can't use it to escape from an area where they are knocked off because of the water around them.
different problem.
Yeah.
More questions, people?
Could you use the parachute for clothing?
You can use the parachute, maybe for clothing or to sew some nice things or other means, other purposes. Yeah. Yeah.
If you look at the picture before where you see the community tent, there the parachute is actually used as the roof for the community tent. The extra parachute that you have over from the other boxes you can use as sail on the ground or all kind of uses that you would like.
David, how heavy is the stuff?
How heavy the stuff is? It depends what kind of contents it has, of course. Yeah. Well, we want to make it strong but as light as possible. But that's why we want to do research, you know. Yeah. So we want to determine what is the maximum weight that we have to use and the best possible material and as cost effective possibly.
You don't have an indication.
That's why you have to do the research. Yeah.
Yeah, you asked about $500,000 of Modullar. What are you using it for?
We want to test the materials that we were thinking about to use for the box, because right now they use cardboard boxes. We want to try it on desert areas, like in Arizona, make a drop there, or in heat conditions or in cold conditions with a small Cessna, so that we can see what the forces will be that we'll encounter on the panels. Yeah.
We need $500,000 for that.
But it's at first stadium. Maybe in a later stadium, when the box, the prototype has been developed and it's really appropriate or acceptable, we can look at other things for how can we make it maybe a little different or something like that.
Yeah, I think your number is a little light.
Yeah, for $500,000, you have to finish the
There will be a
prototype in about
yeah.
2 weeks.
There will be a possibility that we will ask for more money, but yeah. Not an excessive amount, but a reasonable amount so that we can do some good research, because research is very important to make this product successful.
But if you come back for more money, we could feel free to ask you questions again.
Yeah, I would like to ask 2 million if it's possible, but...
We would rather you ask for more now
Okay,
and maybe not use all of it, but
Okay.
come back to us.
okay, that's nice thinking, thank you.
And just as a general point, if you come back to us because you didn't get enough in the beginning, we're going to ask for more back.
Right, okay.
The second time.
That's clear.
Okay?
Okay. More questions? Give it a thought, people. Give it a thought. Do something good for the world.
All right.